Hey, what's up guys? My name is Beckett and welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be continuing one of my longest series on this channel, which is build videos, and we are going to be redefining the word close range when it comes to SMGs today, and we are going to be breaking out that negotiator's dilemma. So stick around, but if you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe, like, leave a comment, do what you can. Now let's hop over to the specializations, and you have a couple different choices depending on what chest talent you want to pick. Now if you're going with obliterate, and that is the chest talent I suggest, I would ideally pick up gunner just because you're going to get that extra armor on kill and all that other fun stuff that's really going to make that build pump, as well as just the armor on kill is really just going to help you keep you alive, because the threat you put out with Negotiator's Dilemma is kind of insane and there's no tank that can really keep up with it. Now if you do not want to deal with the obliteration stacks, you can always go over and change it out for a spotter and use the technician specialization, so you can always keep something spotted. But the downside to that is you will be losing the attachment slot. It just depends how much is 5% critical hit chance or critical hit damage worth to you. Now as for our weapons, we are going to be using the safety distance most of the time. Now it comes with a lackluster, at first glance lackluster talent. Every time we get a kill, we get 125% range and accuracy. Now what does that mean when we're using that SMG? That means we can hit any target up to like 60 or 70 meters without having any fall off damage. Now if you've ever used the SMG, when you get about 10 to 15 meters away, you start to see a significant drop off in damage. Now with the safety distance proc up, we are never going to be losing that damage. That means we're going to be able to do SMG damage at AR ranges and or above, or at rifle ranges, and it's going to hit very nice because the SMG has the highest damage profile of any gun in this game. Now as for our secondary weapon, we're going to be using the named MP7, and I love this talent. Every time we swap to it, we get 500% increased handling speed. Now that only lasts for 5 seconds, but every time we get a kill, it will reset that buff, so we can keep that up as long as we're getting kills. And usually we're going to want to be using this gun in close range, so when we get rushed by someone, pop it out and you can just nuke everything down in a few seconds, and it is kind of silly. Love running this with my Hunter's Fury or my system corruption build. As for our gear pieces, it is fairly simple. We're not really breaking the box or breaking the meta. We are going to be keeping the backpack for Negotiator's Dilemma. As for our chest piece, we're going to want a Sokolov chest piece so we can get that extra brand set bonus, and we're going to be rolling critical hit chance and critical hit damage just because this build is built around critical hit damage. And then we're going to be using our fox spurs. You can also use the Sawyer knee pads, but it has a little bit of a ramp up time. But if you're feeling a little squishy, go ahead and throw those on, and those will work just as well, if not better than your fox spurs. Now before we go any further, let's explain how the Negotiator's Dilemma gear set works. Every time you critically hit something, it is going to leave a mark on your head, and every time you critically hit a marked enemy, every marked enemy is going to receive damage. Now it is a little less without the backpack, so if target A, I mark it, I go and hit target B, and I start doing critical hits on that mark. Target A is only going to receive 60% of the damage I am doing to target B. Now, if I'm using my backpack, I'm going to be doing 100% damage to all of those targets. Now, at first, it seems, oh, I'm not losing that much. You are losing a lot. Never use any other backpack if you're using the Negotiator's Dilemma Memento. I don't care what it is. It is not going to come close to the amount of damage that we put out with this build. Now when it comes to our skills, we are going to be using really basic skills. We're going to want a decoy just to manage our threat, because we are going to be putting out a lot of threat. And if we don't have something like an assault turret, a decoy to really kind of control that threat, we are going to be taking a lot of damage and end up more on the floor than actually doing damage to any enemies inside the game. Now for the second skill, I just went with Revive Hive just because of the amount of sheer threat that is going to be put out at different enemies. They are all going to be attacking us at once, so just having that little backup plan. I always like to use the Revive Hive when I'm running Negotiator's Dilemma. You're more than welcome to use any other skill, but really there's not that many options when it comes to running with this build. Now as for our stats, you're just going to want to hit that 60% critical hit chance cap. 55 to 60 you should be set, and you're going to put the rest in critical hit damage, because that's where our build really shines, is from that critical hit damage. No Note that you are only going to be doing damage to multiple enemies if you are hitting a marked target and it is a critical hit. That's why stacking critical hit chance and critical hit damage is so important for this build. Now, as for the playstyle or how you should really get into this, although we will be using the SMG, we are going to be using it at long ranges from 20 to 50 meters. So you're going to be able to hit everything at max range, max damage at all the times. There should never be a reason where you should have to go into close range unless you are first going into a room, you are getting rushed. Any other scenario, you should have no problem just sitting back in cover and just melting every enemy that comes by your way. Now that's it for the build pretty much. If you have any questions, comments, tips, go ahead and leave them down below. And if you're looking for other Division 2 videos, Outriders videos, anything to do with shooter looters, go ahead and check out my channel. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.